Star Wars The Last Jedi. Okay, there's not a lot I can say before going to the spoilers because most of my strongest opinions and statements on the movie are related heavily to spoilers. So let's just try and get the. One of the most interesting things to me about the movie leading into it is almost everyone I knew who was big into it had a bunch of theories on exactly how the movie was going to play out. And to my surprise and enjoyment, those theories were almost all completely wrong. The film manages to make itself surprising at every turn. And that impressed me. That impressed me that it kept me guessing what was going on throughout. So the thing about the movie is there's essentially two movies. There's essentially two storylines going on here that eventually converge into one climax. And that climax is pretty impressive, enough to make me forget that half the story is stupid and the other half is awesome. Okay, so Rey and Luke's story is awesome. That's really cool. The stuff going on with Rey and Kylo Ren and Luke, all really good stuff that I enjoyed immensely. There was one scene where I felt like their statement was a little too meta for me. And I typically like meta things, but I was kind of like, you kind of smug bastards. But like overall, the Rey, Luke, Kylo Ren thing is the best part of the movie. It's where the heart and soul of what I'm watching is. The other movie is just Poe Dameron being a complete piece of shit. The entire movie. Now, I should be up front, and I might be a little bit biased, because I saw The Force Awakens, and my first thought on Force Awakens was, man, I wish they just killed that Poe character when they had the chance. He is so uninteresting and means nothing to me. And with The Last Jedi, they make him a central figure. And here's the thing, no matter what they do with this character, you cannot make me give a shit about Poe Dameron. You cannot make me like him. He's just this, like, imagine if Han Solo was a cocky pilot instead of a cocky smuggler. Except, unlike Han Solo, he was literally always wrong. Like, literally just can't stop fucking shit up for, like, any part of the movie. Now, and we'll get into this in spoilers, but the Poe Dameron Finn half of the movie is very sort of, you watch it through and it's kind of okay when it's happening, but when you look back on it, you're just like, wait a minute, what the fuck? God damn it, Poe Dameron, you fucking piece of shit. And we'll get into that in the spoilers. Just god damn it, Poe Dameron. Even his name sounds like you're fucking angry at him. Poe Dameron, you get into my office, Dameron, you son of a bitch. Like, okay. So, like I said, it's basically two movies. The one half is the Jedi stuff, and that's awesome. And the other half is sort of the Resistance Rebel stuff. And that's basically just Poe Dameron fucking shit up. Because he can't not fuck shit up. And and Finn is in there. And Finn was my favorite part of The Force Awakens. I felt like he was the part that felt original and interesting and not like just something they lifted from a previous movie. Like the idea of a stormtrooper turning to the rebels or the resistance or whatever the hell we're calling them now, something different for some reason. That's fucking cool. I liked him in The Force Awakens. Here, he's just sort of there, and he's got like a storyline, and now he's got sort of an Asian girlfriend, although I guess she's not really Asian, because we're not from fucking Earth. So, So he's got a girlfriend now, sort of, not really. They have there's a romantic element. I'm actually not, I won't get into there's spoilers. But, and Finn's big deal is that he just wants to make sure that Rey doesn't come to die. Um, and that's Finn's whole deal. And he wants to get away, and he's he's stolen Leia's tracking device so he can lead Rey away from the Resistance and make sure she doesn't get killed along with the rest of the Resistance, because things look pretty fucking dire for the Resistance at this point. So, God, there's not a whole lot I can say without spoilers. It's a visually impressive movie. The acting is well done. The action sequences are really cool. There's a couple really good lightsaber fights. Luke is pretty awesome in the movie and definitely worth checking out. At one point, Luke Skywalker has the line, it's in the trailer too, he says, "This is not going to turn out the way you think it is," and that could not be any more accurate if it wanted to be. I gotta give this fucking movie a number. And the thing is, I'm not confident in my rating at this point. So I'm just going to say that right now. As I mull over this movie, my opinion of it might change, because it's a very complex film. Right now, I'm going with an 8. No, well, I'm going to go with an 8.5. No, I'm going with an 8. I'm going with an 8. I'm going with an 8 for right now. I might decide I like this movie more in the future, and I might decide I like it less. But for right now, I'm going with an 8. I'm very excited about where they're going to go. I will say there's a lot of unanswered questions in this movie. Supposedly the movie was originally 3 hours long, and they cut it down to 2.5. I know I'm probably the only person out here who'd be like, "Bring on the 3-hour cut, you sons of bitches." But just Hollywood cutting movies for time and length is just pissing me off. I'm getting real fucking sick of it, Hollywood. Just make 3-hour movies. I don't give a shit anymore. I would rather watch a complete idea, a complete concept, a complete story for 3 hours than have so many things, than to leave the imperfections that you like to leave behind when you cut a movie down like that. So I'm going with an 8 for right now. Now I'm going to go into spoilers, so please like, subscribe, comment, share, and whatnot. Now we're going to talk spoilers, so if you don't want to see spoilers, now is the time to stop. So that's 3, 2, 1, spoilers. Okay, so my major issue with the film is fuck Poe Dameron. Fuck him. He is literally the most useless Star Wars character of all time. His uselessness borders on destruction. Literally, his actions in this movie get more people killed than if you stop to think about how many people die because Poe Dameron can't shut the fuck up and sit the fuck down when his commanding officers tell him to. It's fucking mind-blowing how many people die. So a major part of the storyline, the half the movie is the movie opens with Poe Dameron getting almost the entire fleet of bombers killed trying to take down a dreadnought. Now, technically speaking, that probably was a good thing they took down the dreadnought before they find out that the Empire is tracking them. But they didn't know the Empire was tracking them at that time through light speed. So they were dealing with the dreadnoughts and essentially he goes against Princess Leia's direct orders and does a bombing attack on the dreadnought, and they take out the dreadnought, but guess what? Almost all the other pilots die, and all the bombers get down. All the bombers die. Every single one of the bomber ships gets taken out. Resistance fleet has no bombers left. There are no bombers left in their fleet. They all died. It's all Finn's fault. And that sequence is actually pretty cool. but it's totally his fucking fault that they're dead. And he takes out the dreadnought and he feels that justifies the sacrifice. Well, I hope he's okay with sacrifice, because his goddamn ass is going to get everybody killed. Like, they come up with a plan to go and get a code breaker so that Finn and this new girl named Rose can break into the ship and turn off their tracking device long enough for them to jump to light speed and escape. And that's their plan. And that's Finn comes up with the plan. I know, right? Okay, so Finn and the girl come up with the plan to shut off that tracking device. But they're like, oh, how do we get on the ship to do that? And Dameron contacts that yellow lady from Force Awakens, who was kind of a Yoda stand-in, and she tells him where they can find this code breaker who can get them on the ship. And so they go. So he sends Finn and Rose out to do that, and C-3PO's like, we need to tell the commander, and he's like, no, we're not going to do that. We're not going to tell the commander we're doing this mission. I don't trust them. They're ladies. Like literally, Poe See, the thing about it is, though, is that if Poe Dameron had sat back and not done anything, so many people would have lived. Because what happens is that Poe Dameron doesn't realize he's fucking with the new, like, Leia's in a coma because the ship got blown up a bit and she's in a coma. She was out in space, but she used the Force to pull herself back in, and now she's in a coma. And while she's in a coma, this other lady with purple hair becomes the head of the fleet. And Poe Dameron, for whatever reason, does not respect her and does not care what her plans are. And she doesn't really want to tell Poe Dameron her plans because Poe Dameron is being an asshole, trying to mansplain shit to her the whole time and not respecting her authority as the commander and officer, even though she's next in line according to Leia. And he just will not take shit from her and just does not agree. It gets so bad, he leads a fucking mutiny on the ship to tell her and the commanding officers how to do their job better. At which point, Princess Leia wakes up from her coma, uses her force powers to fucking break open the door, and then stun blast Poe right in the fucking face, because that's what he fucking deserves. Because I haven't even got to the reason. Here's the thing. Here is the thing. Because what happens is it turns out Princess Leia already had a plan in place. They were exactly where they were going. There was a planet ahead of them that they were going to use their life ships to escape from the main cruiser, go down to that planet which has a fortified Jedi base on it. They're going to hide in the old Rebel base, and they could have easily slipped under the radars of the Empire and escaped because they have like code. However, Finn and Rose's plan is also in action, and they break onto the Empire's thing, but they get spotted by an Empire droid, and the Empire droid essentially rats them out, and they get caught. And when they get caught, the code breaker who they've rescued from this prison on this casino planet, he fucking betrays them and gives them the codes to find the ships that are escaping there. Not exactly sure how he knew how to do that, actually, now that I'm thinking about it. But basically, he turns them in, Oh, wait, no, I do remember, because Poe, is in contact with them, and he tells them what the Admiral's trying to do to escape the plan, and so, they know... So, this code breaker who's scum just, betrays them all, and that code breaker would never have been would never have been in the Empire's clutches, would never have known that information. Actually, he would not have even known that information if Poe had not started a mutiny and then called Finn after he started the mutiny. So, everything is Poe's fault. Poe feeds that guy the information that he needs to sell himself to the Empire, to get released by the Empire, so the Empire can murder almost all the resistance. Almost all of them. Poe gets everybody killed. Not just a few people, but like literally they go from having a fleet to having one main cruiser to all the survivors fit on the Millennium Falcon. All of them. That's how bad Poe fucks it. Poe fucks that shit so hard that he decimates the entire resistance. He fucks them all. He gets them all killed. Like, the number of people he gets killed is borderline genocide levels because he couldn't sit down, shut the fuck up, stop being a space cowboy for a few hours, and stop trying to mansplain his way to saving the goddamn galaxy. If he had literally done nothing, so many people would have been alive. And that's why Poe Dameron is a fucking piece of garbage. Now, on the flip side of that, in his defense, there was a level of I personally believe that transparency is always the best option. And maybe if someone had told Poe early on that plan, maybe he would have not been such a fucking dick. But the truth of the matter is that, like, in terms of, like, literally his superior officer, he was being a dick to his superior officer, and his superior officer was like, I don't have to tell you shit. Stop being a dick. And then he kept being a dick. So Poe Dameron gets everybody killed. And it's worth noting, and yes, the plan was Finn and Rose's, but they didn't know to find this code breaker. Who knows how they would have tried to get on the ship? They probably would have failed. But their failure would not have gotten everybody killed. And that's why Poe Dameron is a fucking piece of shit. And one of the worst Star Wars characters ever. Just ever. Now, in fairness, his fuck-uppery does lead to the ultimate climax, which involves Luke and Kylo Ren and Rey and Kylo Ren and Snoke. And all that stuff is pretty awesome. Though before I go, I should just comment a little bit on Emperor Snoke. They don't explain Emperor Snoke. And I don't know if that was in the 3-hour version of the movie. It would have been nice. We still don't know who the fuck he is, where he came from. And once you see him in person, the question of where he comes from becomes even more prevalent because he is like 12 feet tall. Like a lot of the prevalent theories on the internet are just debunked immediately by the fact that he is huge. Like, he's literally a 12-foot tall Sith Lord. And, like, there's a part where Rey's face is near his face, and it's noticeable that his head is like 3 times the size of her head. He is gigantic. So, like, I don't know what he is. He's clearly not, like some theories have said, like, he's clearly not Darth Vader. If he's Emperor Palpatine, then he could be a clone of Emperor Palpatine. We don't know. They don't tell us. He's 12 feet tall. He's huge. He's super powerful. And Kylo Ren killed him. And I didn't really have a problem with any of that. But at the same time, they better fucking explain who he is. Like, somewhere, somehow, someone needs to explain who Emperor Snoke is. They just do. A lot of people predicted, a lot of my friends predicted that Kylo and Rey were going to run off and become rogue Jedi and Sith and abandon both the dark and the light and become something completely new and merge or whatever. And, like, that doesn't happen. And, like, what does happen is actually pretty cool. They both become... He becomes the most powerful Sith, and she becomes the most powerful Jedi. There's a final showdown between Luke and Kylo Ren, where It's cool. Just check it out. It's worth seeing. Um, the third act is really what makes the movie for me. The third act brings it all together, and it's epically Star Wars and awesome. And the third act just works. It's everything builds into that and works well. It's leading up to that third act that it's a little bit rocky. I enjoyed all the Rey stuff. I enjoyed all the Luke stuff. I enjoyed all the Kylo Ren stuff. The Finn, Poe, and Rose stuff is pretty hit or miss. And Benicio del Toro's the Codebreaker is kind of cool, but he totally betrays them. And there's a lot of interesting things in it about arms dealing and weapons stealing, and like how like there's these people in the galaxy who benefit from the constant conflict between the Resistance and the Rebels, and that stuff's all pretty interesting. And I even don't mind the casino world they go to. I thought that stuff was pretty cool. I hate the rabbit owl things. They're so. You can feel Disney just creeping into the Star Wars in them. You can like feel Disney reaching in, going, ha ha ha, this is ours now. Take our cute animal pet thing. I mean, to be fair, George Lucas had always had sort of an issue adding cute aliens and stuff, but this one feels just a smidge more Disney than it does George Lucas. Okay. Like, I think I'm gonna exhaust my voice talking about this movie. So yeah, I'm staying with the 8 for right now in terms of scoring it. I mean, that's scores are really just arbitrary bullshit, really, if you think about it. But yeah, if you love Star Wars, you gotta go see it. I just please remember that Poe Dameron is a fucking disease, and I kind of hope he dies in the next movie, obviously, because like, yeah, fuck Poe Dameron, Poe fucking Dameron. All right, like, subscribe, comment, share, all that stuff. Okay. Take it easy, Internet.